If you're on pot,
Okay,
you're probably listening to this podcast.
You know what? Listen, okay? Welcome back to the immigrant section, all right? The reason my tone is like this is because I've actually tried this like 3 or 4 times, and for some reason I'm stumbling all day. But yo, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, click follow, hit it with 5 stars, say a comment, say something nice. You know, the full episodes come on YouTube. Check that out. And obviously, I joined the Sonar Network. So go to the sonarnetwork.com and you can check out all of my episodes, plus a lot of other cool shows. And you could see if you like any specific guests, it shows you all the shows they're on and stuff. Anyways, enough of that. Sitting to my left, being very patient this whole time, is my guest for today, Simone Park. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I feel bad. You're like, when is this gonna end? You know, you're like, were you gonna interrupt if I talk for 30 seconds longer than that? Do you think you would have at one point been like,
I think I would have just let you have it. Yeah,
You're the best. Yo, welcome to my basement. What do you think of the tires?
I like it. I come from a family of mechanics, so
Hell
it feels
yes.
very much at home.
You were telling me your sister's a mechanic. You were telling me about your Subaru court battle.
Yeah. Arbitration. We never went to court.
Well, I like it the way I was telling it.
Okay,
yeah,
all
right. So anyway, she stabbed the head of Cougar. Cougar. I guess there's more of that, right?
Oh
That's
my
we can look
gosh.
forward to that.
Cougaroo is.
But yo, I actually always wanted to be a mechanic, huh? It's just, but you know, like how the parents are like, oh no, you must aspire higher, engineer or doctor. You know what I mean? And then like I actually liked car stuff. So now in like, after I did that in school and shit, now I tinker with the car. Now I fix whatever I can fix, do my own oil changes and shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I wouldn't, like, if I was around your sister, I would never talk about what I can do with a car. I did my own oil changes the other day.
My sister is actually a licensed heavy-duty diesel truck mechanic.
I have a diesel. My car is a diesel,
okay,
but it's not a truck. Well, I just want to say, I fuck with the diesels. Yeah, I just, you know what I mean. Just so she knows, I'm down with the diesels. I know about that no spark plug lifestyle. I respect that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you just spent the last forget about a month ago, but 6 months pretty much in Hawaii, and now you are back in Toronto on like technicalities essentially, and. It seems like you're going to be back in Hawaii within a month or 2 or 3 or something like that. It's that
Inshallah.
What I want to know is what kind of mindfuck is it to go from Honolulu or whichever the islands you were on? I forget Oahu. What's it called?
I was actually on the Big Island.
The Big Island.
Yeah.
Oh, now the island people know. They're like, oh shit, the Big Island, man. We know it.
It's the big one.
I don't know which one the Big Island. What's the name of it?
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Like, yeah, that actual island is actually called Hawaii.
Oh, and what we know Hawaii as,
like
is it
all
the collection?
The islands, yeah.
Oh, but that one's called Hawaii with a V.
So the W is sounded like a V, and then there's a Okina, which is like looks like an apostrophe, which you kind of stop.
Damn, you took on that culture in 6 months.
Duolingo.
There's an Avina, and it just stops. It's a whole thing. But yo, what is it like going from there to Toronto? Yo, actually, the first thing I want to know is I've never been to Hawaii.
Okay.
So in my mind, based on movies, it's the most chill. It's BC kind of slow down, chill, live your life, relax, family, stuff like that. And Toronto is more hustle bustle city. Am I right? Or like explain what going with that, like immediately the shift in vibe was.
I guess you are correct that it's like very chill because it's still islands.
Thank God,
island time, like island vibes where it's just like, yeah, man, like chill,
siestas
easy.
And all that.
Yeah, it's a very chill, like Hawaiian people are very chill, very nice. There's this thing called aloha, which I'm sure you've heard of.
Oh, absolutely. The flower necklace.
Well, that's a lei.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
But it's just like...
We're learning. I'm learning.
Just showing love, being love all the time and helping people. And they're just super wonderful people with wonderful like ideals and...
Like, what's the vibe of the Starbucks worker there or the grocery store worker? Are they all that... Like, if I went as a tourist to Hawaii, the people who go, hello, welcome, like these people? what about if I just went to Costco? Because my buddy went to his honeymoon in Hawaii, and he's like, bro, they got it's a normal society, like it's America, so they got Costco and McDonald's and everything.
They do.
So when I go there, is it just like everywhere else in America? Like people are just kind of like, yeah, like Martha in produce is a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, like when it comes down to it, are they really happy? Even in the workplace, they're juggling in the staff room, and there's fire going.
I mean, calm down. I don't know if anybody's really like, I'm so happy to be alive working in the grocery store, especially during COVID. Okay, but I would say, generally speaking, at least from what I can see, I think people seem happier because also like the islands, for me, it just, the nature and the land feels so supportive and like we don't really have the water, the sun.
Absolutely.
Oh, the sun. Okay.
The vitamin D.
So the sun.
Can you come in a little closer?
Come in a little closer.
Yeah. Vitamin D. Can you come in a little closer? Don't read into that.
To the phallic shaped. Anyways.
People that are not on the video are like, I'm assuming it's the mic.
It's the mic.
Can you just pick up the stand a little bit closer? Yeah. So I'll slide. I fucked up. That's my own issue.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh.
I just don't want you to sound distant.
That.
I don't want you to sound distant,
Like my heart. Just,
yeah.
Okay.
With that we can't. No amount of talking will fix that. Let's just worry on the volume, right?
I really forgot what we were talking about. However, I wanted to talk about, I think, water.
Oh, it's a vitamin D, like
the
sun,
here
the water.
Is stronger here in the sense that, so like I had an Airbnb to quarantine close to Trinity Bellwoods, and I had this little
as
patch.
One does.
Well, I mean, it was the same price to get one in Scarborough or North York, truthfully.
I actually heard they stopped the Airbnb because of COVID.
You have to show that you need it.
Gotcha.
So since I'm a Canadian citizen, I needed somewhere to isolate safely. So, I mean, not that they checked, but I was in the clear.
You clicked that check.
Yeah.
Need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. I was in a very good area in like my own little tiny place.
Okay.
And there was like a little patch of gravel outside. So I would go outside and I'd get 10, 15 minutes of sun. Otherwise, I would go back into my place. Like I literally... And I'm not just saying this to be like, yes, Canadian government, I did not leave my place for 14 days or longer. But I actually didn't, because I was just like, I had food. I was used to isolating because I isolated in Hawaii for a very long time. But when I would go outside to get some sun, and remember, I was quite tanned. I had just come back from like months.
You have a consistent tan.
I'd say I developed a very solid base.
Yeah, you're very like dark Korean. You're like a light Cambodian.
Ooh, okay. I'm like basically
just based on my knowledge of complexion, which is very limited, I should say. There is almost non-existent. I haven't been to any of those places.
So if I was Korean, that would kind of be an insult.
Okay, yeah.
Because they like to bleach their face and be like white.
Every culture that has a spectrum in complexions, the lighter people usually are doing better in this society.
Which is ridiculous.
In India, they have the fucking Fair and Lovely polish thing that makes you lighter. Yeah, it's bleach. Yeah.
It's bleach. It's ridiculous.
You don't moonwalk or shit. You just get it doesn't let you dance or nothing.
But yeah, so I'd go outside for like 5 minutes and I would you could see where my bra was.
This is here,
like literally 4 minutes outside and I'm red and it hurt whereas I could be outside in Hawaii for, and not like blatantly just like, I'm not wearing sunscreen and I'm going to be outside all day. But the sun, maybe because it's so isolated and they don't have that much industry. So there's not a lot of pollution and everything else. But the sun was incredibly strong and damaging here.
Wow, I've never heard that. What do you think it could be? Do you think it's the being an island surrounded by ocean does something to the air that... what is that?
And it's so far away. It's so isolated, right? It's in the middle of the ocean.
But I just wonder what it could be about the sun that just... But I bet you there's people here that are like island people. They're like, dude, it's the blah, blah, blah.
It's probably the location and proximity.
But that's interesting. I never knew that.
Equator or not the equator. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's I could be out in the sun and I feel like you were getting this vitamin D. Like it was healthy for you to get a certain amount of sun. I feel like my hair was growing more. Like you've heard of this Hawaiian hair where it's all full and,
Here it's like the opposite. It's like...
Yeah, just I don't know. Hawaii for me is such an unusual place, like an amazing place, but if you're basically you don't necessarily want to be white there.
Huh.
So you know how everywhere else it's like you bleach your face because when it comes to the shade hierarchy of goodness,
Yeah, exactly.
you want to be lighter.
Yes.
But that is not necessarily the case.
In Hawaii.
And it's the only place in the world where I've ever gone where, first of all, English-speaking Asian people are amongst the majority, right? So
Is typical business done in English? Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
It's an American state.
Yeah. No.
I keep forgetting
It's everything's conducted in English, but there's so many Asian people.
Yeah.
So, and it's not just like, it's interesting because the Koreans that you could tell were born in Hawaii, so they've been there for generations.
Japanese too, right?
Well, Japanese, I believe, were amongst the first
Yeah.
to get sent there to like work in the plantations.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the Koreans, from my understanding, once the Japanese decided that like, hey, no, we're gonna strike and like we want union, we want our rights and blah blah blah, then they were like, all right, bring the Koreans in.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. What year was that roughly? The 70s, like 60s, 50s, like before that?
I'm gonna plead the fifth
Yeah,
there because
yeah, right. Good,
I do
yeah.
not want to get it wrong. I think
No.
you guys should go to Google and check it out.
This is if you like I say this all the time, like if you are on here listening assuming these are credible sources, what is your like decision making, like where's that at? Yeah,
like anything that
all
I
this
say,
is speculation. There's nothing, I don't even have anything here to Google anything, and I make no attempt to do so.
Yeah.
So
please don't take anything I say as being anything other than my understanding of things.
were the Japanese in Hawaii like way before World War II? Did they go there for like a World War II thing? I don't know.
Again, I feel like this is very specific information that
okay, let's just
especially with like when we get to Pearl Harbor and like all like when it comes to history.
It's not you're pleading the fifth. I don't want to incriminate anyone as if the case is still open.
I will be the first to say that I do not know the details,
Yeah, planes
and
fall out of
thus,
the sky all the time.
I don't want to make any type of statement.
No, I totally get it.
Like I do not know, and
I'm fucking with you. No,
there are many other ways that I can look like an idiot, and let me just do that on my own. Yeah.
The idea of being surrounded by water is so sick because every time I used to have this route. I used to deliver cookies in Toronto. And, like just like a couple hours,
What
10
kind
hours
of
a week.
cookies?
Like it was for a vegan place, so they were like vegan cookies.
Okay.
They just needed a driver, and I did it for like almost a year. And sometimes, it was just I did it for a couple hours a week. It was good money. But anyways, sometimes I'm doing the route. I'm stressed out. I'm super stressed. I'm running into all the little shit. You're in the itty gritty of like all your mind's bullshit.
Okay.
And every time I would drive, I remember when I would drive by Lakeshore, and when I looked at a big body of water, it made my problems feel so stupid. When you see water, you forget you're just like an ant. Like when you see water, you're like, oh fuck! If something shifted and a big wave came, it would kill everybody like immediately, and there would be nothing I could do. So it's like, oh, just be happy you're alive and like focus on these top 3 problems because those other 7 are
absolutely
kind of bullshit.
It's so
The
true.
water kind of reminds you to not take yourself so seriously.
And I think it's also very like cleansing. Like you feel kind of like born again when you get like, I realized that I have never really spent that much time in the ocean.
Yeah.
Because the first time, when my friends...
Because you grew up around black women, right? So that was just like... Yeah.
I'm going to just move past that one.
You have a lot of black friends. You're like, I did not add to that one.
I said that I had not spent a lot of time in the ocean.
Yeah.
And seeing
Not
as
the
I was
water?
born and raised in Toronto,
Exactly. Scarborough.
that would make sense that there's no ocean.
Oh, okay.
'cause
Well, I meant a
there's
body of
lake.
water.
Oh, okay.
Hey, don't take shots at me in my own home, in my basement, next to my tires.
I'm gonna take shots.
Yo, yeah, look, the tread is fucked up. I know that, and I've accepted that, okay? There's no more seasons left on those
Let me
tires.
guess. You're the type of guy who gets like 2 winter tires at best.
No, that's a full set of Blizzaks. For anybody
All
who's in the
right.
game, your sister would be like, damn, Blizzaks?
I know what a Blizzak is, okay?
Okay, all right.
I'm
damn.
familiar with Blizzak. But I also see the treads are fucked up on those tires.
They're fucked. Anyway, so forget about that whole thing. So you realize there why? Just because you have never had the opportunity to be near an ocean?
I mean, no, I have lived and worked in places that have access to ocean.
Yeah.
But I just never really, I don't know. I guess I got together with my friends who were actually born in Honolulu, but they live in LA. And they, like, at one point we all met up and we would go to their favorite beach, and they're like, yeah, you just dive into the waves and then you just kind of let go and the waves just take you. And I was like, I've never really done this. And then there's dolphins.
All over?
Yeah. I mean, I've only experienced them on the Big Island personally.
Which is where you're at. Shout out to Hawaii.
That's where I think I would love to have a home there.
Oh yeah? Is it affordable?
Actually, some parts of the island are not that unaffordable just because there is so much land.
Huh.
It's such a big island. There's like a rainy part of the island, which is where I was staying when I got caught up there during the pandemic. And it rains so much, so that means that you'll have to deal with things being musty and like, do you know what I mean? Like things just like
it's always raining, yeah.
It's always raining, so if you're okay with that musty smell when it's like always kind of
very
damp,
humid.
Humid.
That's what I imagine Vietnam smells like.
And I don't know, maybe
humidity, high humidity, like vegetation is just kind of like insects can thrive. You know what I mean? In this type of like climate.
I guess you're right. But yeah, things will just rust. Like I left out
quickly.
A hat with like a little like metal part on the back.
Yeah.
And it was like green.
Quickly?
Just like the next day.
Holy shit, that's hilarious.
But that being said, there are parts where you can get a place or some land still relatively cheap. But that
in those areas, in the super musky areas.
Or very close to the volcano, which
is also another gamble.
There's not so much a gamble, it's just like, when is it going to erupt again?
Yeah.
So definitely a gamble, but if you like to roll the dice a little bit,
Yeah, all those people that have like the cliff houses and the seaside houses, they get the volcano houses.
Yeah, I mean,
they just
try to get one high up, I guess. I don't know.
How big is that big island relative to Toronto? Like, can you,
in terms of people,
like
or
if
size?
I drove to one size, like if I drove from one end to the other, like directly through, I don't know if the roads let you do that. Would it be an hour, 40 minutes, 30 minutes?
I think so. Like where I was staying, which was kind of like the northeastern part, kind of.
Okay.
And then we did drive one time. Like let's say you're driving from the northeastern part to kind of the northwestern part.
Okay.
That took roughly. It was either like an hour or 2 hours.
And that's not even the diagonal. That's just like to the other side of that top
straight
part.
Across.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of thing. But
okay, so it's actually like a pretty big chunk.
I think that's also the meteor part of the island, because I think it kind of goes like a Wu-Tang kind of symbol.
Oh, really?
I think it tapers off and goes more towards a point at the bottom.
What? Oh, so it's not a ball. I was picturing like a circle.
No, it's kind of like a
interesting
triangular.
I love how none of our phones are. Nothing is here. You should just pictionary
I'm
it
like
for me.
Wu-Tang.
It's like
Wu-Tang poster.
Yeah, exactly.
Ish.
Slice out the top part. Oh, I can see it. I can see it.
Kinda, yeah.
Were you working there?
No.
No. Okay.
And I was not allowed
because you're
to
a visitor, right?
I was a tourist.
Yeah.
And it was also a pandemic, so
Gotcha.
Not a whole lot of just like throw me in the grocery stores, man.
Yeah.
No.
What did it hit Hawaii hard? I don't know.
Nope. They still cases are starting to creep up, but I think total cumulative they have just over 1,000 for all the islands combined.
Wow, that's nothing.
That's nothing, but I mean,
like 1,000 deaths or 1,000 cases? Yeah, that's amazing. Sudan has more than that. That's crazy.
I mean, they've been pretty good at implementing like the 14-day quarantine.
Okay,
pretty early on, and it's a very tourist heavy place.
Is tourism still allowed? Probably not, right?
It's curtailed quite significantly, like in the 90 some odd percent.
I'd imagine, yeah.
They used to have like 30,000 travelers arriving a day, I believe. And again, please don't quote me on these statistics.
No one will, yeah.
I think it was around 30,000 travelers, visitors.
A day.
Or arrivals. Maybe it's like also flight attendants and stuff like that.
Okay.
But like around 30,000 people coming in every day. And I think now it's like 1,000. And most of those are like flight attendants, healthcare workers,
necessary workers,
and like I think they were getting up to like maybe a few hundred. It might have reached like 400 in a day, and everyone's like, wow. Yeah.
So it's just dead.
Yeah, and
because you left right at the beginning of June, so there was 2 months of all of May, all of April, and maybe half of March. I don't know when they started all their stuff.
Like mid-March, I think, was the time where like it was really like everybody was like shut down. Yeah. That happened here
that
too,
happened
right?
Here too,
yeah, it was like mid-March.
Yeah. Mid-March, and then it stuck around till I don't even remember when. Mid-June. When did we even open? Like, actually, it was lineups. It was pretty much lineups right away. Just like traffic, I remember cut down here, but this is not such a tourist-heavy place.
Yeah,
I imagine traffic would like disappear in like a place like the island there. Just like you said, so much of it is tourism.
Again, I like during the most of the pandemic, or my experience from March, April, May, I was in the most isolated place possible. So when I left the Big Island, they had 0 cases.
Legit.
And like
it was just so separate.
And because everybody was wearing a mask. Everybody was social distancing. Everybody was just like, all right, here's what we have to do, because there's a large older population. Oh. And that's that idea of like kind of that aloha spirit and like doing what's best for the collective.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like, I have my rights and I'm going to not wear a mask because that's I don't even know what that was.
Yeah, exactly. That's communist.
Whatever the argument is, like, just they were, and I think that's why places like Korea, they got
rid of it quick,
because they were like, what do we as a collective need to do to stop this thing? And except for some like really devout Christians, I think there were some outbreaks because people were like, I gotta go pray, and then they were like, let's spray this salt water into everyone's mouth using the same sprayer.
Wow.
But other than those little blips of like idiocy, they were like, all right, as soon as they found out that somebody had a case like in Seoul or in Korea, they would contact as many people as they could, put out things like, if you were traveling on this train in this car from this time and stopped at this stop, and if you ate at this restaurant, like they were disclosing all the information, where I find other places are still like, well, it's an infringement of personal like privacy rights. And it's like, but also it's a way to like try and isolate if they did catch something, and make sure that they're not just like going around and seeing everybody. And like,
it's always those small self-governing kind of places that are able to do it quickly. Like you said, Hawaii, it's a close-knit island vibe and ethos. They handled it just like Korea. It's like when you have a lot of land and a lot of people out there, out of the cities, they drive it. Every bus says, do your part, stay apart. The billboards, right? Mm-hmm. But then a huge majority of our populations, like in the US and in Canada, is outside of like metro centers.
True.
So that's where it's more like we're already kind of like separated. The cases locally are low to begin with, and then we're like, fuck the mask, you know what I mean? Like, no, it's like you're so spread apart you can't see what's happening. But in these close places like Korea, they're like, oh, this could just explode right away, let's handle this now.
Well, I think it's also the difference between having like a collectivist society like Korea, Japan. They are like, what's better for everybody is better than just what's for you. And like more individualistic societies, where it's like, I am everything and what I do,
Yeah.
So it's like when you feel that way and you're like, because the whole point of wearing a mask is that most of these masks are not going to protect us from catching COVID necessarily.
It's what stop from us from spreading, right?
But if everybody is stopping things from getting sprayed,
that's what it does.
Then it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm
still bad with it, to be honest. I saw you had a mask when you pulled up, right?
I did,
yeah. You have a nice mask. You got the black. Like I just have, those blue ones they give you like temporarily. I have like 6 of them in my glove compartment.
I will say as well, Hawaii was very good at having like nice masks. I didn't get that one in Hawaii, but I have some other ones, like one's hanging from my rear view. So I have a bunch of masks because you don't want to be like using the same one all the time. Yeah. But they had like really nice constructed, like everybody just kind of got into the mask business, and even like, I bought like a really nice
Like the
one that
mask
shapes-
culture. Let's just adopt it. It's like you're saying.
Well, kind of, and like you can put nice prints on it and make it into.
You're right. I'll
part of
admit,
your outfit.
me in Toronto, I hesitated. I resisted because for so long my mindset was that this is going to stop me from getting what's out there. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, I'm fine. You know what I mean? I'm good. I'm healthy. It's not going to touch me. But now I realize it's like you may have it. It's not affecting you, but you give it to someone else and it cripples them. It fucks them. So putting on the mask stops that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, but like I said, I'm more city mentality. At the I was like, fuck the mask, man. It's going to pass. We're fucking 25 to 35 age range, man. We're doing it. We'll be
Well,
fine.
I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
No. I'm saying this was
before.
But now it's like, oh, it's the law now. Get with it. I went into a place to print today and they're like, what are you doing? I just walked in like it just happened, right? So I still just go into places, but I have the mask like in the glove box and they're like, what are you doing? They're looking at me weird and then they're like pointing to the face. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I have to run back to the car, put it on, come in, print and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit's changing. I wonder if this is going to stick around for a long time or if this will fizzle out in like a month or 2 or 3. I feel like don't you see it weirdly just becoming the norm? I could actually see that. But what's fucked up is do you notice all the facial recognition on my phone is fucked when the mask is on?
That's funny.
You know, when you have the mask and the sunglasses on, you can't do anything. The whole like everything is dependent on Face ID on this thing.
Oh.
So now it's like it was messing up with sunglasses. Now with the mask, there's no hope. So it's like they're selling this crazy technology that will fucking like sense any twitch of your nose. And it's like now we have to wear masks all the time. I wonder what'll happen with like tech
I'm sure they'll find a way around it.
to make money.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, some people see new things coming up as an opportunity to.
That's
come
what
up
it
with
is.
a
What is it?
solution.
Is it? It's a proverb, Chinese or Japanese, that the same word for change is opportunity or something like that. Yeah. Or maybe I read that in a fortune cookie. I don't even fucking know at this point.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah,
Those
right?
little cookies are delicious.
Have you ever actually had a fortune that you remember, or they all just came and went?
I probably saved a few of them.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, this one's so good. It really works for me right now.
I love how they've mastered the art of like saying the perfectly vague thing that just applies to just
everybody.
a big umbrella of everything, right? You
Isn't
will
that-
see the one you think of most or something. You're like, oh, fuck, the one.
Isn't that also like horoscopes and newspapers and stuff like that?
But okay, do you believe in all that stuff? Horoscopes and like the thing and the thing?
Like planetary.
Like you're definitely a this.
I don't like. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, you're a Taurus. I can't be friends with. Like, I don't know what that stuff means.
Yeah, okay.
But
no,
I
that's
think
deep
like
level. I get that.
I think it's like when the the planets and the stars and whatever. I think there's something to that.
Well, I just want, definitely all the orbits and all that stuff happens. And someone told me this before, that the moon, all the waves on Earth are a result of moon's gravitational force. And our body is like 70% water. So who's to say that it has no effect on us? So once I was told that, I was like, okay, scientifically that makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Because I've had so many scenarios. I've said this before, I think, where it's like, specifically with girls, because that's usually a girl's horoscopes is like, they follow
I
it.
don't
It's more,
see gender.
yeah, I just see a fucking Aquarius.
I don't think you can say that that's a girl's thing.
No,
Like,
the
that's-
reason I'm not putting it just out there.
Okay.
I'm saying the reason I say that is because I've talked to a lot of girls who at one point or another would just be like, would see my place or talk to me or something and be like, so many times, oh, you're definitely a Libra. And I am. And I'm like,
When's your birthday?
October 6th.
I'm a Libra.
Yeah, okay, there we go. That's why
buddy.
this podcast works. Shit. Now
we
just
balance
amped
each other
out. That's why we like that October's very own brand, right?
Yeah.
OVO. But how? So many, like, honestly, I don't want to say like 100, like, let's say 7 or 8 times No one has ever been like, oh, you're definitely like they do the definite for Libra. They never go, you're definitely a this and I'm not that. I'm like, what the fuck is it? Being born at the last 3 months of that month. What is it like? If it's not the moon and if it's not the stars, what is it just in our society or in our psychology that could group us all together such that they can know, oh, you're definitely a this?
Did they say that because you are always like considering both sides? And
no, because I always have like nice things in art. And they're like, Libras collect nice, good-looking things. They have nice car. They have a nice thing because I had a nice car and I would like paint
like beautiful
at the time.
Things.
Yeah, exactly. That's a Libra thing, right? You know? Do you like beautiful things?
I mean,
I don't
see, that's not like beautiful
exactly.
Things.
That's what. See, when you say it just like that, it's a fortune cookie again. One who likes beautiful. Everyone likes fucking beautiful things.
That's not true.
Who doesn't like beautiful things?
Some people do not appreciate and do not care for, aesthetically pleasing things, or they just
You've
don't
come by
care.
this?
Yeah.
Like who? Like
people. I do real estate. Like, people don't give a fuck about some things. They don't care. They're like, it could be white, it could be brown. No care. Like, actually.
But like that's I feel like that's more of like an object of money. Like, just find me that price. I don't care the thing. But it's like, if you had to choose, I feel like most people can be like, that looks better.
Yeah, but I don't think that's why they were saying that. I think they were specifically, you seem to like and have an appreciation for finer things.
Yeah. And just some people, it's not that have you ever met someone that doesn't like the finer thing? They like the opposite? Or is it just you met people that just don't give a fuck?
Probably more than just like,
they don't care. They don't give it. They don't think twice about it.
They don't think.
Yeah.
They wouldn't necessarily know.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like nice
That's
thing,
definitely,
not nice thing.
When I was thinking for some reason, like someone specifically avoiding like specific, we're saying you like the beautiful things or something like that. Like someone who specifically hates beautiful things. But I'm like, I've never met that in my life.
Isn't beauty or beautiful things kind of subjective too?
It's totally subjective.
So,
but like, there's a lot of like general beauty, like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of nature is seen as general beauty.
Okay.
And then with people, that's all like a cultural thing. Like North America, there's a very specific, like symmetrical face that's deemed handsome. And then other cultures have a totally different calibration of what that is.
That's true. But
right? But we all see that a flower petal as beautiful, or a sunflower. No matter where you are, people are going to see a sunflower as like beautiful.
Some people, I don't think, would.
A sunflower, it's the most beautiful thing there is. Have you looked? Have you once looked at a sunflower and not cried? I dare you to say no. I
was actually obsessed when I was. This is a weird fact. When I was 10.
Yeah.
So I went to the. Okay, this is totally aging me, but at one point, when I was in going into the 6th grade, French immersion for the 6th grade was the new hotness. Every parent was trying to get their kid into this like late French immersion.
Gotcha.
So I had to like go to this special school, and they were like really had a lot of like art programs, and like we got to do all kinds of stuff. And I was like obsessed with painting Van Gogh sunflowers. So yes, I agree. Sunflowers are beautiful, but I think some people could look at that and just smash it with their hand and not give a fuck and not see it as a thing of beauty, because maybe they see attire as beautiful. Maybe they see...
Yeah, I mean, I get that. But I'm like, no one would hate a sunflower. It's not like... imagine they crumbled up the paper like, no, tires are beautiful. It's like, okay, tires are beautiful too.
But I'm sure there are people like that, I don't think there's like a universal thing that everyone is like, the sun is beautiful. I
feel like maybe it would be in the list. Of like, okay, there's exceptions, right? But the sun gives you vitamin D. It literally replenishes, biologically makes you feel better.
But what about the people that have that, I forget what the skin thing is
when they're all white?
And they can't, if they go in the sun, they're going to be in a really bad situation.
They're like sun allergic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're part of the group of the exception. And loveless people and fucking people that can't appreciate a blue sky, But everyone is like, that's like, think about it. The default conversation we talk about when we have nothing to talk about with strangers is the weather. right?
Okay.
It's like, it's a beautiful day, right? Oh, it's a beautiful, like that's the default thing. Everyone that has that, the appreciation of good weather as like the common ground.
But maybe because we come from a place where sometimes we do not have beautiful days. So we appreciate more.
See, you got to go back to Hawaii.
Dude,
So you've pretty much been like here 6 weeks just trying to get back.
Big facts, yeah.
Is Toronto doing anything for you?
You know, I know that this is probably not going to go over so well with a lot of our like local Toronto listeners, but listen, I was born and raised here. No, wait, sorry, that sounded wrong. I'll always love Toronto, okay? It's my hometown, it's my home city. I will say though, okay, so like, do you know how I used to travel all over the world for my job? I had that crazy job. I think we talked about that on the first one.
You told me in the first episode, yeah. But no, quickly go through it for a lot of people haven't.
Basically,
so like
I
worked
I worked for a European media company that sent me to a new country every 3 to 7 months with a small team of people, and we would have to do research, and basically I would have to create a presentation and a premise for like the prime ministers and presidents and the big CEOs of companies and try to get them to fund our report, our special section that we'd be doing. And we partnered with like Forbes magazine, like New York Times magazine, stuff like that. But we'd need to get them to.
Was it a nonprofit?
No.
Oh, this was like
very
for
much
profit.
For profit, and and we were 100% commission based.
Oh, so you were like salespeople, like aggressive. Yeah, shark.
Aggressive a little bit, but like honestly, and I honestly believe that I could help them to get the investment that they needed. Like, I was very altruistic and like hopeful that exposure in this kind of media would actually help them achieve their goals. So
Gotcha.
like,
You thought you were doing the right thing.
Yeah, and there were surely some people that were just like, I'm gonna get the money because once I get the money, that's money for me.
Yeah.
And I had lots of opportunities where, you know, in the Middle East, for example, I would, you know, throw a couple of words of Arabic out there, and they're like, oh my gosh, she loves our country. This is amazing. And they were like, all right, well, we'll buy this thing. Do you take cash? So do you know how many times I could have been like, oh, you want to give me $50,000 in cash for this ad? Where I could have just been like, all right, see ya. And like, my company, fuck you later. Like,
yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? There was like so many opportunities to not be a good person. Why were we talking about this? Okay.
So
yes.
you have seen a lot of the world. Not all the world. You have seen a lot.
I got to work in the Caribbean, Europe, Asia, North Africa. And like I lived in those places. And I would only ever come home to Toronto usually once a year, usually at Christmas, you know, see the family, whatever, or in August, because like in Europe, everything shuts down in August. So we weren't working, so it would make sense to come home. And Toronto is great in the summer, right?
It's nice.
So
non-COVID summers.
I remember that I would always come back here and it felt safe.
Very stable.
It was safe. There weren't guns.
Yeah.
It was calm. People were nice. People were super friendly. It was like back in that day of like, and I loved it. I was so proud to be from here. I was like, this is my fucking city, man. We are the nicest, coolest people that don't even care to be cool.
Yo,
like,
shout out to Toronto right now.
Do you remember when like Toronto hip hop, like back in the day, and I'm aging myself again, but just like.
Wasn't on the map?
No, when it was like Northern Touch kind of days or like the break dance. I don't know. Forget it. We're not getting into this. But there was a certain je ne sais quoi about Toronto. And it was that we didn't feel like we needed to be anything for anyone. This is just, again, my opinion. Okay?
Yeah.
And most of all, it felt safe. So like I'm in like living in Beirut and Casablanca and Kingston, Jamaica, when it was the most dangerous city in the world. So to come back to Toronto where there's no guns, no violence, everyone's happy, everyone's apologizing for like them stepping on your foot. Yeah. They apologize and you get into an I'm sorry fight, and then somebody buys somebody lunch. Like, that's what I miss about Toronto.
This guy was in my way the other day, and I told him, excuse me, so I can get out of my way. He got out of my way. He goes, oh, thank you. I'm like, what?
You know? And it's like, yeah, it's funny, but like, I kind of miss that. And I don't know, maybe COVID will be something that like makes everybody just take a step back. And again, I'm sorry if this pisses people off. See what I did just there? So I am from Toronto.
So you're saying Toronto doesn't have that anymore?
I just think that
you don't pick up on that vibe as much anymore.
I do not pick up on that vibe anymore. I think that Toronto is trying, like Toronto has made a mark on the internet, like with the Raptors winning, with Drake, with whatever. Okay. Yeah. Like people know about Toronto, the tech scene, like so many things were happening so quickly that for the population to more than double in like 5 years or less, and for the real estate prices to more than double in 5 years or less, and the infrastructure to not be able to handle this influx of people, I think we've lost a lot of what made Toronto so great. And truthfully, like I was reading the news the other day, there was like 6 separate shootings in one night.
Yeah.
That never used to happen. I used to always love coming home because I was like, that was one place in the world where I'm coming from, like, you know, I have to totally change my mindset. I'm living in Kingston, Jamaica now. I'm like, I better make these people think that I'm Chinese Jamaican.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like everywhere that I went, I had to figure out how to reinvent myself to not stick out and to be...
Just slide in.
Okay, that's a sex joke for sure.
No, not even.
But just,
you know what I used to do when I used to live in San Francisco and I realized it by mistake? I lived there for like almost a year, but the first couple weeks I lived there, I remember I got a San Francisco Giants hat. And as soon as I put on... I remember when I didn't have the hat on, I don't know if it was in my head, but I felt like people knew I was out of place. But as soon as you put that local team's hat on, you just somehow resonate with the vibe of no one looks at you twice. You're just kind of a city person. You just wear the local.
Well, it's an instant.
But when they ask you about it, you look like a dumbass, though.
It's an instant like, we're
on the same team. Yeah, exactly.
We're on the same team. They're one of us. That sense of familiarity.
So how'd you do it in Kingston? You'd be like, yo, I'm Chinese Jamaican? Like that was
I had to get a tan. I had to like, you know, I mean...
This is just so you're not bothered as like, oh, she's an obvious like
let's
tourist
go rob
or outsider.
Her.
Yeah.
Let's go rob her.
Oh, she knows what she's doing. It's not like that's you trying to get
be that, like right? Luckily for me, because like the people that I worked with on my team were like white. Like
in Kingston, Jamaica.
They sent a guy that I went to university with that was like not only white but racist. Yeah, not good. Not
By the
good.
way, those two have come together a lot. You know, those two things have mixed weirdly a lot. Strange.
But like, I feel like, you know, I kind of could. Like, people could look at me, and once I got a tan and kind of,
I could see it. Yeah.
You know,
did you braid your hair?
At one point, like one of the woman who worked in our complex, like she did braid my hair. Okay. But I think what actually helped me out a lot was that I went to Cedar Brae.
What's Cedar Brae?
So Cedar Brae is a high school where there was like a lot of Jamaicans and Bajans and like...
Oh, in Scarborough.
Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So you speak patois. You understand patois? I didn't
speak it, but like our school dances were all like soca, reggae, dance hall, soca. You know, so like that was just like...
That's what you danced to.
That's what we danced to. We were familiar with it. And I remember when I was actually in Jamaica, and if I didn't open my mouth, because clearly I'm not trying to speak patois, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm just like walking in and I'm not saying anything, I'm the strong silent type, people thought that I was Chinese Jamaican. Miss Chin.
Are there a lot of Chinese Jamaicans?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a big population.
Well, I mean, they have established themselves enough to like be a thing, because usually they were like quite well off, the Chinese.
Do they have a portion of Kingston, or do they sell specific things in Kingston? Or
I would imagine that they had restaurants, but I don't know.
Okay.
But do you know, like one of our billionaires, Michael Lee Chin,
is Chinese Jamaican?
A Canadian.
Yeah.
Chinese Jamaican, I guess.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know that was so there was a big influx of Chinese people to Jamaica a long time ago. Or?
I think there was a big influx of Chinese people everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. yeah. Actually, you're right. The general wave. You're totally right. Everywhere I've gone.
Getting back to the immigrant section.
Yeah, exactly.
The Chinese are everywhere.
And she's coming from Hawaii. Like, listen to me. No one is listening. I see it coming.
Actually, I don't think there was like, there's not like too many. I think there's more Japanese, Filipinos.
Older generation, or they're like...
in Hawaii, I don't know. I just like the Japanese people have carved out quite a lot of influence and stuff like that.
Like, is the governor of Hawaii Japanese?
Right now.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so the top of their like political office is Japanese.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
And I think, again, this is just from what I've heard, like, but I think they kind of go through waves, and like at one point it was like a Jewish woman, and then they like switch, and they're like, we haven't had a Japanese guy for a long time. And they're like, oh, okay, let's go with a Jap. So
that's crazy, man. That shows a lot to be a Japanese governor.
Yeah.
Where Pearl Harbor happened like 70, 80 years earlier. That's change right there. That's fucking like you said, so deep in the like the system, or so embedded as a Japanese culture that they can like, that's not a thing that holds Japanese people back at all anymore.
You know what I love about Hawaii? It's literally just a mishmash of like, they'll take this from Japanese culture, and then this is Korean, this is Filipino, this is actually Hawaiian, and then it just becomes the way that it is. And sometimes they don't necessarily take like the right bits, but still, it's cool.
But
like,
they're taking them.
No, like I would say from the cuisine, you would think that like Hawaiians with access to like such fertile land, they can grow everything. But like they just adopted kind of the worst parts of Asian cuisine.
Oh, like Spam, right?
Spam, white rice, like rice, and then all the like salt, sodium laden, like shoyu, soy sauce, like all the very like things that lead to hypertension, just like they just eat so much of it. It's so salty.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like, does their 7-Eleven have like different stuff?
Actually, I just learned this the other day. Yes, they do. So they would have like maybe like sushi rolls or like Spam, musubi, and like...
How is Spam served?
Usually they...
Like with bread or...
I mean, maybe, probably, but they put a little slice of it on a bed of rice, and then they like wrap it with a little thing of seaweed.
Gotcha. They make Spam sushi.
It's called musubi. Musubi? Shit.
Is it good?
It's
Yeah, right, okay.
Truthfully, I only had one in LA. I don't even know if I had one in Hawaii, to be honest with you. I was mostly vegan when I was in Hawaii.
Is it very easy to be vegan there? I feel like there'd be options left.
So when
and right.
I was on the Big Island and I was on Hilo side, so on the east side, there was the only way that I would get food. So I had one friend that I would see.
Okay.
Because I only knew one person on that side of the island.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a car for most of the time that I was there. So he would come and pick me up and take me to a farmer's market.
Yeah.
So that's where you're getting like, I would get like papaya and pineapple and mangoes and like lettuce and, vegetables.
Hell yes.
And I was actually probably the healthiest that I had been, because I also got a place that was advertised as being furnished. And I had to move in so quickly. Like I moved in like the next day, but then the tenant took all of her shit.
Wow.
So I had a bed.
Yeah. Okay.
But then there was like nothing.
Barren. Yeah.
There was nothing. And I had a Pilates mat. So that mat, all I could do was Pilates.
And then get the fuck out of Pilates?
But then I did Pilates. And so like when I'm down on the ground doing Pilates, every single thing that I had to eat was eyeline.
Oh, yeah?
So then I would just Pilates and eat, and then I'm like, oh, fuck, now I got to do Pilates because I ate so much. And then I would, like, it was just this, like, it was a vicious,
wheel
of
it was
Pilates
terrible. And food. That's hilarious.
And I couldn't go anywhere.
But this is when you were quarantining.
This was when I was quarantined.
Okay.
Like, when I say I was isolated, I would see my friend once every 10 to 14 days.
Yeah.
And other than that, I was so far away that mail couldn't come to the house. And it was a mile walk to get to the road.
Wow. It was just a walk. Like you didn't have
I didn't have a car.
Wow.
So I walked it once. It was pouring rain because I'm on the rainy side. And I'm just like...
How'd you end up all the way there? Oh, this is just the only place you can get. You said you moved in quick.
No, so like right before shit really hit the fan with COVID-19.
Yeah. I
just thought to myself, I think Big Island's going to be safer. because it's an island big enough that can fit all the other islands onto it and still have room.
Okay.
And there's like so few people. Right? So like Honolulu is a city that has like 1 million people.
Yeah.
And that's just Honolulu on a smaller island. So Big Island is this big island. There's so much room. There's not a lot of people. So it's like COVID needs people in close proximity and people coming in from other places.
Yeah.
To really
Like
infect a lot of to accelerate. So my thought process was like, well, if everything's going to be shut down anyways, so it's not like I can go out, I can't do comedy, I can't do anything.
Yeah, being as isolated is the best move.
That's what I thought. So I was like, I love Big Island.
Yeah.
That's where I've cried the most tears of joy. If I'm going to get stuck anywhere, that's where I want to be. And then my friend, the one person that I knew, was like, oh, you love Big Island, but you've never been to my side of the island? You better come to my side of the... And I was like, all right, bro, like, let's do it. And then he's like helping me. He sent me like a Craigslist thing of like apartments. And literally we went to see 2 of them. One was like double as expensive because they made it look like it was this like resort and we have a pool. No, it was not cool.
It's always like that.
And I'm like, I'm not looking to spend... especially because the U.S. exchange rate was like $1.50.
And you were working off Canadian dollars?
I was working off my savings in Canadian dollars.
Oh,
so I'm not really looking
time.
to spend double to you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I found a bare bones place. It was in the middle of nowhere. There wasn't even a couch or anything. Like literally kitchen. Oh, and then he was like, yeah. The landlord's like, yeah, and there's a induction cooktop, you know?
Yeah.
And I think there's a pot and a pan and cutlery. Like, yeah, there's stuff. Get in there. That was all her stuff. So there's an induction thing with no pots, no pans, no cutlery, no nothing. So I bought a rice cooker, like a $20 rice cooker from Walmart. And I made everything that I ate for the next couple of months out of this little janky, like, no, this is not like the Asian rice cookers that speak to you and stuff like that. This is like a $20 Walmart rice cooker that towards the end I had to shove the plastic handle to keep the one button down to reheat food and cook
Keep
food.
it alive, that cheap electronic.
But then I got so good with nothing.
Yo, I was going to say, you know what? Every movie, like based on every movie, every book, and every cliche I've ever known, to like be enlightened, to like reach that level, you separate yourself and you live off like nothing. You just fell into those circumstances just because of like that's what the universe dealt you. But that's exactly what you did, was what like monks do to reach like the next level.
You know what's funny though?
And they didn't even have a Pilates mat.
That's true.
You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
You're fucking.
I kind of was seeking that though, because like right before I was supposed to go and do another 10-day silent meditation retreat in the North Shore of Oahu.
So you were doing those a lot? You mean another one?
I've done 2 in my life since I think 2016. Yeah, I did one for my birthday. It was in October. So 2016 was my first one, and then I think I did the second one not that long ago, maybe 2018 or 19.
Wow, okay.
And then so I was like, oh my God, to do one in Hawaii, that sounds amazing. And like basically they're free. They're by donation. So you get like a very basic living quarters.
Like
it's
a
like
cot.
It's like a little, you know,
hostel
tiny
style.
little, but it's fine because you're meditating 11 hours a day and waking up at 4 a.m. So I was like ready to do this, and you know, we were waiting every day to see if it would still happen. But if you think about it, like COVID exploded, and then now it's like, do I want to be sitting in a room for 11 breathing with like 50 to 100
We all
people?
have it now.
Like actually
reach that
though,
center place.
everybody would have it.
Everyone has COVID right now. Like that would spread so quick.
It would spread so quick. So they were smart to cancel it, and I wound up getting my
pretty much doing the exact same thing, maybe even better.
It was one of the most difficult times of my life, because at some point, like, you just can't watch Netflix anymore, and you can only do so much goddamn Pilates. You know, like, I should really be in better shape than I am right now, but I've been back in Toronto for a while. Yeah, no,
yeah, right. Like, you did you have like books with you and stuff there?
Oh my God! So my one
Seems
friend,
like a time to read.
because I love popcorn. Like my friend from
Like
high school.
movie popcorn?
Just popcorn kernels that you make on the stove.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I also drink corn tea. Like there's like a Korean corn tea that are just big
So
old.
you're just down with corn in
And my
general.
friend Yusuf from high school, Cedar Bay.
Gotcha.
I met up
Shout
with him
out
for
to
the
corn.
shout out to Yusuf and corn, and he was like, Simone, I hope
Maize.
one day you will find a man that you love as much as you love corn. And I was like, big facts, like that.
You're like, what?
That man
Is
will
he
be
eating a
loved.
cob?
Yeah.
Do you butter it up, or is that's non-vegan, right?
So I started doing this thing because remember, you got to be creative, right?
Yeah.
So I started making corn on the cob and then putting kind of like a chipotle mayo kind of thing, and then sprinkling some parm, and then you bake it after you cook it. So you boil it.
Yeah.
No, it's so good. It's like that like
No,
Cafe Havana in New York, or like it's like Cuban style, which I've been to Cuba. They don't do that, but it's really tasty.
That's hilarious that like you're making like such a decadent treat in this like super like enlightened setting. Like you're like doing Pilates, but was that in there? Like you're spraying like
this was in
Parm on it?
Toronto.
Oh,
This was in Trinity Bellwoods.
I thought this was like on the east of the island, like just
No,
your little oven.
no.
Like I'm gonna fucking this 8-layer corn on the cob. It's gonna
I
be incredible.
literally ate fruits. I ate fruits. I ate rice because I bought a huge thing of rice because everyone's like panic buying, right?
Yeah.
And like toilet paper, I think I spent the equivalent of like $25 for a pack of toilet paper, and just because I could get it.
Yeah, they were just tripling the prices
They
left
were
and right.
fucking Walmart.
I saw it.
Fuck you.
I saw it even here, Shoppers Drug Mart one time. I went in for a little thing.
No.
The price was, yeah, even here, I don't remember if it was a supermarket. It was double the price. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, they're playing.
Oh, yeah, they're
like that's
gouging for
$9.99,
sure.
and it was half of it, and it was like $18.99 or something like that.
The worst part was Walmart on the Big
Broccoli.
Island. They were like, "Oh, we don't have any bags, so we can sell you this reusable bag for $3.99."
Wow.
And I'm like, "You know your bags weren't $3.99 before.
It
You
was
piece of
99
shit.
cents, you bitch.
Get some more bags." You know? And they knew that I could not carry this all out by myself, and I was like, "You."
Yeah, we don't sell bags now. It's COVID.
It was just, but like you had to, because I was literally thinking that I was going to hunker down and potentially not see anybody else. I had actually come to terms with my mortality. Because,
In that place?
yeah, because I was so far away that, like, first of all, my health insurance ran out.
Yeah.
Right? So
You'll
I'm
do
like,
that
I'm
when
not
that
going
happens.
down with like 150 grand US in debt, not
Yeah.
from school,
For a
but
cold.
from, do you know what I mean?
For
Like
scraping your
for
knee.
being on a ventilator and shit. Like, no, I'm like, I would rather die in this lush garden, in this 2 acres of land here.
You
And-
did find God. You found the earth.
Oh, dude, I have cried so many tears into this land, but like, I feel like I don't feel like I leveled up.
Yeah, 100. Yes,
100%.
of course. I'm telling you, in everything I've ever read, all I know, and I haven't done that, is doing that will level you up. That's all I know.
But I resisted.
Of course,
I
you know one
resisted.
who openly goes into those circumstances. That's like some
Yeah.
prison style. Would you want to be in 2 weeks? But the prison is around really green and it's sunny. It's like, okay, sick. I mean, it's free, but it's like you can't talk to anybody. You can't be around people. You can't fucking sit. There's no chairs. You know what I
There's
mean?
no
Like
chairs.
There's no chairs. FYI, there's no chairs.
No-
In asterisks.
There's nothing.
That's how you find yourself. You live a life with no chairs. Was the mattress right on the ground?
No. So there was actually
There was a box
bed.
frame?
No, there was
Okay.
a bed, like a bed frame, like a grown-up
Yeah, gotcha.
situation.
Imagine how many levels you would have leveled up if the mattress was directly on the ground.
Actually,
You know?
no. When you do the Vipassana, like the 10-day silent meditation retreat, one of the rules is that you abstain from any luxury, including a high, comfy bed.
Yeah, that is a huge luxury. In Sudan, when I would sleep on like a thin thing on the ground, just stepping up, you realize how much of a privilege it is when you slide out of bed and your foot is exactly like 90 degrees. That's such a privilege. When you get up, you're like, damn, you leveled up though.
Oh, 1,000%.
I can tell, and you're ready to go back to what do you miss the most? We're coming up here on like an hour and 10.
What do I miss the most? I miss being able to just, first of all, the sun actually giving me vitamins and not burning my skin and making me look like a leather handbag.
the Hawaii sun.
The Hawaii sun, there's like, I don't know if it's like salt water in the air, but like my hair was growing more. I looked younger. Like my knees weren't hurting like my joints weren't hurting as much. Like I felt like I was like getting younger and more rejuvenated from the earth and from the water and from the air and from everything. But I think, and also being able to like go out and actually swim with dolphins and turtles and rainbows like almost every day. And just the people are friendly. But I'd say the thing that for me makes it really feel like home is like whenever I would travel to any of these other countries, I had to really figure out and try very hard, whether that's learning the language, whether that's learning the customs, the culture, how to make the food, how to eat the food, how to do the dance, how to da-da-da-da. I had to work so fucking hard to try and fit in. It was like a square peg trying to jam itself into a circle hole just to feel safe.
Gotcha, yeah.
Because like then people won't fuck with me, like, and then I won't get robbed. Yeah.
Play whatever the survival part is.
But I played so hard. Like it took everything out of me. Like I would do it, but I had to try so hard to fit in Lebanon, in Jamaica, in here. Like I had to consciously be like, this is what I have to do for them to see me as having a San Francisco hat.
Yeah. This is the mode I have to be in right now.
Hawaii, for whatever reason, just by virtue of me being alive and awake, I look local. And people think that I'm from there. And even in Toronto, I don't really even get that. Like, yeah, I know we're Canadian and everybody's from everywhere and like, yeah, everyone's Canadian. But let me tell you, have you never once gotten the where you really from bullshit?
Yeah, we were just talking about that a couple of
Okay, so it's like, I can't tell you how good it feels searching for so many years and trying to fit in, trying this. Okay, I'm going to learn Arabic. I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn that. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. I know I don't look like that. But there will be some justification as to why it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And figuring that out and working so hard to make that happen, I don't have to do shit in Hawaii.
Damn.
I feel like I belong. It feels like home. I am in nature. My body feels better. Like, and then I realized I'm like, what am I working for?
Yeah.
What am I working towards? Like, is that supposed to be just some pie in the sky that eventually maybe I can retire there? Why not now?
Exactly.
Why can't, like, and that's why I was like, you know what? I think life should be something where you're choosing happiness and you are happy more often than not.
Yeah. So it's not an end goal.
It's not an end goal. It should be a right now goal. It should be a today goal. Okay. And that didn't happen today, tomorrow.
You got to take it day by day. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? When I used to work the corporate life, I would be years ahead. Years ahead. Okay, if I put in this amount now, and I'll put it in, okay, I can grow that here 6%. And if I get this apartment with my buddy here, okay, I can grow. You know, I'm years ahead. Just trying to, you know what I mean? And I'm just anxious as fuck. And my body is telling me, I'm sweating. Every nail is bitten down. I had the most disgusting nails you've ever seen in your life for the last 21 years.
Oof.
I've been like an aggressive, like ask anybody I know. Okay? Like right now they're grown back. This has been a thing only that happened in COVID because I've been able to beat this in COVID. Okay? My body has been telling me all those years you're not doing the thing you're supposed to, but no one tells you to listen to your body. They tell you to achieve this thing or this thing in society. You know what I mean? Like,
well, your body tells you to listen.
Your body tells you, but there's no one tells you. You feel it, but I would go past it. I would be so anxious, but I'm like, oh, I gotta achieve the thing. This is, I'm just being a pussy right now, and I gotta achieve the thing, you know. But it's your anatomy being like, yeah, you're going against the grain right now. I don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Well, good for you, and also thank the Lord that you have this dark skin because you would have looked like shit.
If what?
Being under all that stress for so many years. Like,
right?
If you did not have all that
Thank God I only lost
melanin,
I only lost this hairline, right?
I'm telling you, man, fenugreek seeds, that'll bring that shit right back.
Yo, I'm actually going to get you to text me that, right?
I will
I'll try anything now. Okay, yo, Simone, this has been amazing. Do you want to plug anything? I know. Are you doing another talk? I know you. What you did in LA? Actually, nothing's really awesome. This has been the case for a lot of guests, by the way, and me too.
Honestly, I'm just trying to do the things that make me happy, and what I'll say to you, based on the story that you said, is that like we can squirrel away and think, okay, in 6 years now I can do that and then that. Nobody knows how long we have.
Exactly. And
if COVID or anything else was not the indication that your life can be gone in the drop of a pin, like just like in a moment's notice, everything can change. So live your life now. Now,
100%.
Right now.
We say this shit all the time, and a lot of people got thrown out of their careers. That was everyone's like, you're so brave, man. You walked away from 6 figures, man. I could never do that. I'm like, no, I got laid off in San Francisco. I had to come back to Canada. Did engineering for 3 years. I'm here without a job. I'm like, should I get an engineering job? No, you idiot, you're out. It landed in your pocket. This is what COVID is for like everybody. Yes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people had to do their career still, and with my heart out to you if you hate that shit, but you got to come to terms with it if you got to come to terms with it. But for a lot of people, the companies just shook off the fat or they just stopped. So a lot of people got thrown out of some shit they very likely didn't give a fuck about. So take the opportunity. Don't run right back into it.
What a blessing.
And so many people say, yeah, you have a passion though, man. Like, it's like, okay, that's true. But think about all the things you've ever done. Think about what you actually preferred and take this opportunity to go more in that route if the current has taken you towards something you didn't like. Like I just chased money for so long. And I ripped my nails apart and my hair fell. Everything was going. I'm sweating buckets just trying to get the money. And now I'm just feeling like a way more zen. Like I still get stressed and anxious, everything
for sure,
but just life, I don't have that existential thing like what the fuck are you doing. That's gone now. Yeah
Hallelujah.
It's been years. But Simone, thank you so much for coming on. We got nice in there at the end. That was amazing. Actually, I feel really good having that conversation.
Oh, that's great.
I hope you can get back to Hawaii. I don't know what. I hope fucking Toronto doesn't burn you and kill you by then.
I mean, at least it's the best time to be in Toronto. With the weather, right? So I just take whatever happens as being the right thing. Wherever I land, whatever happens, it's because it's the right thing for me right now. So I've just like, I know, and I'm just like, oh my God.
No, that's beautiful. Hey. That's beautiful. That's some shit you learn.
Well, we could always try to like be somewhere else. Or be happy once we get to that next thing. That's exactly what got us all fucked up and chewing our nails and shit. It's like, I'll be happy once XXX happens. I'm choosing to be happy now. And yes, maybe I would prefer if certain things that I'm going to direct my energy towards getting to the thing that I feel like is my heart and my home and like, you know what I mean? That really happy place. But I'm also going to find happiness for where I am right now. Because there's a lot of people that I love in Toronto. There's a lot of, I'm going to go hit the Korean market. That's joy for me.
That's beautifully said. And I really hope to get out to the countryside one of these days and find a fucking shack to live in for 2 weeks with a mattress on the ground and achieve those levels.
Don't try. Just do.
Just do. That's beautiful. Just do.
I look forward to the podcast after you've done that.
Hell yes. And I look forward to speaking to you the next time you get kicked out of Hawaii. Okay, all right? That's the next time you'll be on the podcast. But yo, Simone, thank you so much for coming on. As always, from my end, Spotify, Apple, 5 stars, click follow, whatever the button is. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Everything is on there. I appreciate y'all for listening. Tell people about the Immigrant section. Peace and love. Peace.